If you were involved in an accident or an injury, but you had a pre-existing condition, can you still recover for that injury? The answer might surprise you. Stay tuned. Let's say that you had an accident or you suffered an injury, but you already had a pre-existing condition, a pre-existing medical problem. Can you recover for that in an accident in Georgia? And the answer might be surprising. It's actually yes. So Georgia has a law which allows for the collection of an injury claim or damages for aggravation of a pre-existing condition. Georgia has what's called the Eggshell Plaintiff's Rule. What does that mean? That's kind of strange. The Eggshell Plaintiff's Rule states that basically a defendant who's negligent takes the plaintiff as they find them. Meaning, if you're fragile like an egg and that egg cracks, it doesn't matter that you were fragile. You still would not have been cracked if it had not been for the negligence of the other party. And so that eggshell plaintiff is one of the best things about tort law for plaintiffs here in Georgia. And the reason is that we value people, even if they're hurt, even if they're elderly, we still respect them and we say their well-being, their happiness, their safety is just as important as somebody who's fully healthy. And so if you have somebody who is, let's say you had back surgery, and maybe you're 4 or 5 weeks post-back surgery, you're still healing, and then you get involved in a car accident, and that requires you to have a second back surgery. That car accident defendant is responsible for paying for that second back surgery if you would not have needed it had the accident not occurred. It doesn't matter that your back was already bad. It doesn't matter that you had already had surgery. They're still responsible because at the end of the day, we still value your safety, and they shouldn't get a discount on the harm they caused just because maybe your eggshell was a little more fragile than any other person. And so that might be surprising to you to learn that you can still get damages for an aggravation of a pre-existing condition. All you have to do is get evidence from a doctor that states that the condition worsened because of the accident. And so what would happen practically in that situation? Well, we would probably go back to your first doctor, right? And we'd say, okay, well, this person had an MRI 2 weeks before the accident, and then they had an MRI maybe a month after the accident. Doctor, can you compare those two MRIs? Can you tell us what differences are between MRI 1 and MRI 2, and whether or not that change in the condition was caused by the accident? If that doctor says yes, that change in condition was absolutely caused by the accident, then you can recover for that aggravation. Now, I'm going to be totally transparent with you and honest, and I'm going to tell you that these cases are extremely complicated and extremely complex. You do not want to handle these cases on your own. Aggravation cases are some of the trickiest and hardest cases, and so you want an experienced lawyer who understands injury claims, who can help walk you through the process and handle the claim for you. Now, you might think I'm biased, and I'm telling you that because, of course, I'm an injury lawyer. But the reality is, an insurance company is typically never going to pay you on these cases. They're not going to tell you about the aggravation, and they're going to tell you that they believe all of these conditions predated the accident. So they're going to say, even if you had that second surgery, we think you would have needed that second surgery anyways. And so we're not paying for it. And so the only way to actually recover for that second surgery is to have an experienced lawyer who can talk to the doctor, who understands the medicine behind the injury, and can get that doctor to explain clearly, effectively, and legally what is a new injury that was caused by the wreck or aggravated by the impact itself. And so that's why I would caution you. These cases are very difficult. I do not recommend handling them on your own, and definitely recommend getting a free consultation from an attorney like me. It can be me, it could be somebody else, whoever you trust, to determine whether or not you believe that the injury predated the wreck or whether or not it was aggravated. And so that's something that I would definitely tell you need to speak with an attorney on. Also, know this, is that honesty in your medical records helps your case. If they find that you've been dishonest or they're not being truthful about when your injury started, nothing can hurt a case more. And so let's say you go to a doctor after your car accident. And let's say you say, "Oh, I'm not going to tell that doctor that I had something before the accident because that is going to make me not be able to recover for the aggravation after." Stop. Red flag. Absolutely tell your doctor your full medical history. Because if that insurance company finds out that you're not being totally truthful with your doctors about the past, about the history, it makes it even harder for you to recover. It's much better to walk in after an accident and say, "Yeah, I had back problems before, but now my back is killing me even worse than it was before the accident." Be truthful, be honest, because not being totally truthful will absolutely ruin your case. So that's another important fact to know. You just need to know that you need an experienced lawyer who can work with an experienced doctor to explain to that insurance company that aggravation. But don't settle your case just because an insurance company told you that an injury predated the wreck. If there's any aggravation involved, you're entitled to new damages for that aggravation, and you need to speak to an experienced attorney who can tell you how much you're entitled to and what part of the treatment is from this accident and what part is from your pre-existing condition. If I can help you with that, if I can help answer any of your questions, definitely reach out. We'd be more than happy to give you a free consultation. But until then, thanks for listening. Like and subscribe if you like getting these legal updates, and definitely talk to a lawyer to make sure that you get every penny that you deserve. We'll see you next time.